2013, you kind of mentioned earlier playing with Josh Gordon. You were actually able to play for the Cleveland Browns. And, during that time, the Browns were, basically the laughing stock in the NFL. They had, some decent players, but how difficult was it kind of playing for arguably the worst team in the league in the Cleveland Browns?
It was tough because the fan base is awesome, man. The fan base, the dog pound is like top notch, and it was tough, man, because the team was so young, and I knew they brought me in there to kind of help mentor Wheaton and everything, and I remember Wheaton trying to help him. They said it was a quarterback battle in the beginning of the season, but it really wasn't a quarterback battle. They had already given him the job, through the summer, and I was just there to, kind of help mentor him, and it just kind of gave it a story. But ended up having a really good preseason that year, and then he ended up playing, and then he got hurt. It's supposed to have been my turn to go in, but instead, they started Hoyer, and the coach came to me and said, "Hey, we want to see what we have in this young guy in Hoyer." And everything before we give you a shot. So that kind of set me back. I'm just like, that's so dysfunctional. I was just like, he didn't beat me out to get the job, but then you give him the job to start over me when it's my time to play. And of course, I'm in my ninth year, where now your ninth year shows you still throwing the football around. So that kind of took a lot out of me. And then all of a sudden, Hoyer plays, and he gets hurt, and then it goes back to Wheaton, and then Wheaton plays, and all of a sudden we get to the thick of our schedule, and they say, "Hey, Jay, we want you to go in now." So it's kind of like they set you up almost, you know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, I'm a competitor. I go out and compete. So we go to Kansas City that year, and Kansas City is undefeated, and we go there and we have them on the ropes to win the game at the end, and everything. And unfortunately, we came up short. But then the next week, we beat Baltimore. They hadn't beat Baltimore like 17 tries, and then we beat Baltimore at home, and I had one of the biggest games. And then that game, I actually felt like I cracked one of my ribs. Loader fell on me, and I ended up finishing the game. But we come back, off a bye week. I already played Cincinnati. My ribs were hurting like crazy. I ended up, having to get shot up in my ribs to try to go out and play in that game. And there are some things I wish I could have back, but it's hard when you're playing with a numb rib on your throwing side and you're trying to play through it. And this is stuff that people don't know. The injuries you trying to play through just to help a team win. And then the next week I'm playing against Pittsburgh, starting the game off pretty strong, get a concussion, out for that game, and then miss the Jacksonville game. And then we go to New England, and I throw for almost 400 yards, and we're up by 12 points with like a minute and 56 seconds left. And you tell me, how do you lose that game? And it's almost like, and we find a way to lose that game. And that's just like, geez, you can't catch a break. And, so we ended up playing tough that year. But we had a really good young football team, man, that just didn't know how to win yet. And I really feel like had they kept Chud and had to give me an opportunity to come back and then, just kind of help a young guy that maybe they drafted or something, but keep our defense intact, I really think we'd have had a really good year in 2014. Because I just feel like this team, we was in every ball game. We just didn't know how to win. We didn't know how to finish. And that takes time and everything. But like I said, once again, people are impatient. They want answers right then and there, and everything. So, it's just that's just the way of the game, man. And at that time, like you said, it was tough because the franchise was kind of all over the place.
And you mentioned, being up 12 points under 2 minutes left, and blowing a lead. Around here, that's basically bungled because, the Bengals are used to, blowing leads and stuff like that too. But it really is crazy. Like, the Browns, they have a terrific roster now. But like 5-6 years ago, they were easily the most dysfunctional team in the NFL.
Right.
It's like they did not give their quarterbacks enough chances. You look at how many quarterbacks they've started throughout the years. They've this guy doesn't play good, we'll start a new guy. And it's really crazy how dysfunctional they were.
Yeah, you can't do that. Like, this is not a video game. You don't just plug people in and say, "Oh, go out there and do this." Why do you think it takes time? Why you think LeBron has to go get people to come in and help to win championships? Like, it takes a whole group of everybody working together. But for so many years, the Browns would just let everything fall off on the quarterbacks. I'm just like, how can you blame quarterbacks that was really good coming out of college, but every quarterback either you get in free agency or every quarterback you draft, you can't tell me that every quarterback is not good enough to be a starter long term. It's because they so impatient. They kept changing so many times, and then they kept putting everything on the quarterback instead of trying to build a whole team and everything. But now you see they changed GMs, they changed, VP of operations, and what do you see? You see a difference. What they done, they built it in the draft. They went out, they gotten solid players. They gotten solid defensive players in the free agency. They have a strong run game. They have a two-back tandem. Like they have players. They giving Baker Mayfield help. And you think about last year, the first half of the season, everybody was talking about kicking Baker Mayfield out of town. And then all of a sudden, the last half of the season, he's with his first year coach, and all of a sudden things start to take off for him. And his touchdown to ratio the second half of the season was outstanding. And then they caught fire, they caught confidence, and now they find themselves in the playoffs and a couple of plays away from being in the AFC Championship game. So, it's just things like that, man. That if it wasn't for like I said, saying I talked about Washington. Washington used to do the same stuff, but now you look at it, they've got different people running the organizations. The owners have kind of taken seats back, and you let these VPs, you let these GMs, and you let these guys operate and do their job. And now you're seeing a different style of football teams. You're seeing them competing better because they're building the whole team. You don't have to have a superstar quarterback to win the Super Bowl or to go to the playoffs. Like it just doesn't happen. So I can name you a whole bunch of superstar quarterbacks that started throughout the league for a long time and not have any Super Bowls. So you think about it, Russell Wilson, he won Super Bowls, but look what was all around him when he won those Super Bowls. You got Marshawn, you got that secondary is considered one of the best secondaries in all of NFL history. That defense, and then yeah, you just think about those things. Like, so it's not that when you look at Tom Brady, was Tom Brady a flashy quarterback last year? No, he wasn't a flashy quarterback last year. I was just like, he made throws and made plays, but let's face it, let's be honest. That Super Bowl, that defense did an outstanding job. You had one of the highest scoring offenses to 9 points. Like, that's kudos. It wasn't just Brady. It was a whole team. And that's why I say, man, like it takes a whole football team to win championships. And I think too much is put on the quarterback position to go out and win championships. And I think that's where teams falter at because they need this flashy name back there, the selling tickets or whatever. No, you're gonna sell tickets when you start winning games and everything. So, I think the league is kind of changing in that aspect because you look at Josh Allen in Buffalo. People was giving him crap for the first year and a half, 2 years. And then all of a sudden last year, you look, the kid was outstanding. He go to the AC Championship game, and now he's just signed a big contract. Dak wasn't a flashy quarterback. He's not like a flashy guy. So Dak he's solid though. Guys feed off of him. He's a leader and everything. So I think it's all about man who can rally their team to play at a high level, and that's what it's all about.